Yes, indeed. You're listening to Blue Please here on Wild Radio with myself, Total Biscuit. Another half an hour or so the shows go, and a few things still to cover. And, of course, rapping the forums. And we only know you love rapping the forums. Although we did get some constructive criticism that said maybe it's a bit long, and I agreed. I think 8 minutes of that drivel is too much for the human brain to comprehend, so I've shortened it down to about 5-ish. Gone for, I would say quality, but we've gone for anti-quality over quantity. Yes, indeed. Now, that little segment I did inspired a lot of debate in the channel. That's always good. I like controversy. I like people thinking for themselves and all that jazz. And it's an argument between the people who say, well, it doesn't really matter. What are they going to do with that information, etc. And the people who say, well, I like my privacy. They don't have any right to access that information. Then, of course, there's the argument, well, you agreed to it in the EULA. Well, it's not fair to slip it into the EULA. But you should read the EULA. But I didn't. Well, you expected to. But it's illogical I should have to read the EULA because it's really long. I don't understand most of it. Tough. Basically, the law says that stuff like that, it's effectively a contract. I'm not going to debate American law because I know smeg all about it. But it looks like a contract, it smells like a contract, it's probably a contract. And if you didn't read it all, then actually that is your own problem, really. And to be honest, if Blizzard really wants my DX Diag in exchange for getting rid of hackers, they can have it. They can print it out and wipe their arse with it. They can have it if they want it, I don't care. There are degrees of privacy, folks, and there are degrees of privacy that you simply do not require. Maybe I'll admit that I'm wrong the next time I hear of someone being arrested due to the information gathered by Blizzard. But last time I checked, Blizzard was not a private detective company, and they're not in the business of having their clients thrown in jail because that loses them money. It's also arguably entrapment in some cases, so anyway, let's get away from that topic. It's a controversial issue, but controversy is good. We like it. It's fun. Now, working as intended. Something not quite so controversial. We get some entries in for our little segment, and we asked, why, oh why, oh why is the dishonor system so sucky, and how can we change it? So, I've had more suggestions. This one comes in from Frolia, and he or she or it, I assume it's a he, considering it's David Pooley, but I don't know, it could be a female David, we shall see. He said, I read this in the forums a while ago, so this isn't my idea, okay? Have a counter system. The counter will be set at 10 levels below your current level, and if you attack anyone below level, then you get a dishonor kill. However, if someone attacks you first, the counter goes down to their level, so you don't get a DK from killing that player. If a group attacks you, then the counter goes down to the lowest level of their group. Civilians will be the same, except they won't ever fight back, they will simply run away. Okay. I'm trying... Something about that doesn't sit right with me. So it goes down to the lowest level of their group. You're right, that's actually not abusable. Always gets me thinking when low levels are involved in that kind of action of Lord Kazakh. And the whole thing of throwing low-level ults at Lord Kazakh so he goes supreme and wipes the entire raid encounter. And it's a shame that people feel the need to do that. It's probably something I should have mentioned earlier in the Our Gamers Turning into Gibbering Morons segment. The whole thing about people doing that to Lord Kazakh, and I've heard about this recently, I never knew about this one. When someone's server goes down, often a lot of them will go to another server and deliberately crash it. Say that they will mass raid a city and deliberately crash the server in a sort of childlike fashion. If I can't play with it, no one can play with it. I'll smash it on the ground. How incredibly pathetic. No, those are the kind of people that need to burn in hell. No two ways about it. That is stupidity to the max. But anyway, I'm blithering. Get back to the matter at hand. The dishonor system. Now, this guy said, this is Chaos from IRC. I've been playing WoW for about 2 months and I played on a PvE server first. I got quite bored only upon reaching level 39. As I was about to quit, a new server came out called Calicos PvP. I decided, why not give PvP a try? And of course I suffered for the first ganky attacks. It was lovely. I knew I was where I belonged, but it has come to get annoying since now I'm level 50. Everywhere I grind is contested. Sometimes people want to finish up a level or a quest and go to sleep, go out, whatever, but someone of the opposite faction decides to go ganking. So maybe a way to fix it is, if you're fought a mob within 25 to 30 seconds that are below 15% health, you'll be marked as a dishonourable kill. But they may take out the immersion of the PvP environment. But this dishonour of civilians needs to be taken out because it's a bunch of crap. And obviously a grey kill should be dishonourable. See, grey kills aren't necessarily a problem. What you used to get a lot of grey kills because you didn't get rewarded on the basis of the level. You didn't get rewarded at all. It was a case of you killed people to either annoy them or to boost your own ego. So killing greys was okay. Now people don't kill greys because it's not profitable for them. So that's never been a major issue with the dishonour system. Obviously, if you were to put a dishonour system into PvP, you would need to stick the greys on there. But I think he's raised an important point there, that if you were to have a dishonour system, you would need to somehow integrate the concept of ganking is not often or always level-based, but it's situational. In that, if I were to gank a 60 as a 59, the classic definition of gank would say I'm not ganking because I'm not ganking a less powerful player. However, in his situation, he is sitting down at 15% health, or he's engaged 2 mobs, etc., and I attack him, then you've got an issue there. That is a gank. That happens a lot of the time. You see that a lot with rogues because they're very good at the whole sneak up burst damage thing. They're a ganking orientated class. That's how they were sorted out in the first place. But yes, you would have to take into account the fact that a mob is actually involved or the guy is damaged. Sorry, but if you kill someone who's on 2% health or someone who's fighting a mob and they're weakened, that's a gank. Always has been, always will be. So you need that implemented in the system. Which makes me wonder if perhaps if there are mobs involved in a fight and someone else gets involved in said fight and attacks the player, that the mobs should go for the person attacking as well. And that may discourage people. Say if you see people fighting an elite and you go and gank them, the elite sees you and aggroes you as well, then that may discourage people from doing the whole ganky thing, although it wouldn't discourage them from attacking when they just finished the mob. But at least they're not having to engage a mob and a player who's vastly more powerful than them at the same time. Omni home. Right, Jimmy from the Netherlands says the most simple solution would obviously be to let dishonourable kills, grey players, actually reduce your honour by counting as negative contribution points. Yeah. And he says, so too much ganking would bring you down in PvP rank. Yeah, okay. But, as I say, ganking of grey players is not so much of an issue anymore. It's actually ganking in respect of you will take 5 people and mob 1 weakened guy. That's still ganking. He might be in your level range, but it's still ganking. Now, he emailed me back and actually said, I've got a better idea. The dishonour system should do the opposite of the honour system, but work the same in principle. So instead of contribution points, you get negative contribution points. You get those points exactly like you get normal contribution points, except only if the person you helped kill, was considered dishonourable to you, which means it's based on the amount of damage you do to that person. This solves the issue of people being ganked by groups of people. Yeah, but again, if it's within the level range, currently it's fair game. So it's still an issue there. So far, we have the idea that grey is not so much of an issue, mobs are an issue, weakened players are an issue, and attacking players that are significantly lower level but still in your level range is an issue. And it also makes me wonder about the 60 and 59 gap, where a level 60 can be vastly more powerful than a level 59 on the basis that he's got far better gear, which is only available at level 60. Something to take into consider and food for thought. Righto, folks. Something else that's been a big concern recently. Now, new realms are opening all the time. Every now and again, a new realm will be announced, and the inevitable will happen. See, I've used my catchphrase for the week. You get a new realm, and what happens, you don't get all the newbies on it, you get all the old players on it. They go on this new realm because they see an opportunity to start from scratch. Now, as always, there are 2 sides to every coin. There are 2 ways of looking at it. Firstly, You could look at it in a more positive light. People trying to recapture the nostalgia of the old World of Warcraft when they first began. They want to have a case where Molten Core is not being ground. You know, the highest level instant they may be able to access is Ragefire Chasm, and it's still a challenge for them. Go back to that. Go back to a thing where the economy is not overly inflated, etc., etc. An honourable, an admirable, a reasonable way of looking at it. Unfortunately, there's another way. There's always a so negative way of looking at things like this. And it's player ego. People were not good enough, or they didn't spend long enough on their server to become the top dog, and therefore want to have another bash at it to try and get to number one, so they can say, I'm number one on this server, blah, blah, blah. On a server which has become very polarised, and will inevitably become polarised, because you will get two groups of people on that server. You will get absolute noobs who have that as their suggested new realm, or you will get hardcore players. So you've got a massive divide. You don't have the usual range of player experience that you do on a more longer running server. And you've got to think, is that such a good thing? And then you've got to ask, why are people doing it? There are, again, multiple ways of looking at that. Perhaps it's because Blizzard has not provided them with enough entertainment, content, etc., and they want, as a substitute, to replay the content again in a different environment. That's why people make alts. Because they've perhaps played out their character and want to play another one. It's a more extreme version of the alt syndrome, where someone will get to 60, do MC a few times, get bored, and start an alt. In this case, they will start an alt on a brand new server. They will help start a new server, a new economy, new guilds, a new community. And of course, the other way of looking at it is that, again, players are egotistical. They want to be the top dog. Perhaps that's fair. Perhaps it's not so fair, in that maybe players should not be so overly concerned with that. And that they should play for the love of the game. Play for the enjoyment, play for the community, play for their friends, and the whole camaraderie of dungeon crawling, as they used to do back in Dungeons & Dragons and all the old RPGs. Maybe. Maybe it's a possibility. Maybe. It's all maybes, because you can't necessarily look deep inside the psychology of a particular player and ask, why is this player going here? What is he doing? But it makes you wonder. It's food for thought. Should Blizzard keep opening these realms, or should they fill up the old ones? Again, multiple ways of looking at it. There is a positive thing. Many low-pot realms are crying out for new players. They want their server to be bigger. They can't molten core because there's not enough players to get in their guilds. There are too many guilds and not enough players. Blah, blah, blah. Can't fill battlegrounds because there are not enough players online. Alternative view. We don't want new people in our community because we like our community just the way it is. We don't want realm transfers because that can fracture our community. We don't want these people because we heard they were stupid. What a pickle you are in, Blizzard, has to be said. What a pickle. I feel for you on that, I really do. There are so many pitfalls on that kind of road. I'll take an example of a game that involved server merging and the results of that server merge. PlanetSide. Most massively multiplayer online first-person shooter. Some of you may have played it. I know for a fact that some of you have played it. Recently introduced adverts into its game, which, as far as I'm concerned, is the final kick in the teeth to the old people that were playing it. Ruins the immersion factor when you're battling tooth and nail over a base and you see "Buy Fanta" glowing up above you on a 20-foot neon sign. However, that's not the point. The point is they used to have 5 servers. Now they have 3. They merged the servers because of population constraints, population issues. It was a positive thing in one way because there were more people playing, bigger battles. It was a negative way in another because it shattered communities. For instance, the Jahari server believed themselves superior. They were the original players, the elites. Often they were quite correct. Most of the skilled players in the game came from that server. The Jahari players were skilled. No two ways about it. And they had to merge with Markov, who were possibly less skilled. It's an argument. I wasn't there when that happened, so I'm not going to comment. But it illustrates the point I'm trying to make, that Blizzard are in a pickle. A big pickle. A very big pickle indeed. And it's not a very tasty pickle, folks. It's not the kind of thing you put in a sandwich, I tell you that. So my overriding point in this case is, give them a bit of leeway. They're in a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation, and if you dog them every step of the way, it's only going to make things worse for you. I'd rather see progression in the game. Even if I don't like some of it, I want to see it progress faster rather than slower, because people are throwing complaints at Blizzard, and Blizzard are a business and therefore concerned with whether or not their subscribers are going to quit over a change they make. Therefore, that delays the change. Ouchie, ouchie. Anyway, you are listening to Blue Please here on WoW Radio. 20 minutes left of the show. I'll play you a few songs at the end, but I'm going to play you a little bit of Ozzy Osbourne. Some classic in the form of Crazy Train. You're listening to WoW Radio, folks. Enjoy.